Welcome back to another video from the SQL Professor. If you're new to the channel, what we do here is give you the tools you need to succeed as a database programmer or administrator. I draw on my 20 years in IT and nearly 10 as an IT professor to package up the SQL skills and concepts so that you can put them to use today. In this video, we're going to dive into logical operators and, not, and or. If you are familiar with any of these from a electronics or maybe an electrical engineering class, you know they can get very complex, and they can get just as complex in SQL. But we're going to go ahead, break them down, and show you how to use them effectively. So, I'm here in the SQL Professor database. Going over the basic syntax, we have a select statement, selecting a comma-separated list of columns. From a table, we'll just do one table, and then you have a where condition, and you can have multiple conditions. Condition 1, and, or not. Condition 2, and you can have more than 2. And we'll see how this all comes together. We're going to create and load some sample data. So let's start with a basic table called client, as an ID, client's name, age, city, and was their email confirmed or not, just to give a variety of data. And you can see basic. Alice is 25, lives in Dallas. We have her email address. Bob is 40, lives in Houston, does not, etc. Highlight this, execute up here, or F5, complete it successfully. Make this a little bigger here. Highlight this one, insert into client. If you recall, or if you're not familiar with this concept, the primary key, you do not have to specify the ID. It will just increment that from 1 in this case, starting at 1, incrementing from by 1. We'll execute that, 20 rows. So, pretty basic, pretty straightforward here. Select the name, the city, and the age from the client table, where the age is greater than 40 and the city is Dallas. Highlight that, execute. There's only 2, Frank and Rita, 41 and 45, who live in Dallas. It's easy enough to confirm this. If we scan, here's Frank, lives in Dallas. And where's Rita? Rita's right here, also in Dallas. If Mona is over 40 but not in Dallas, so you don't see that in the result set. Very simple or. Anyone who lives in Houston, or I'm missing their email. Here I'm getting 11 rows back. And just to make it a little clearer, let's pull in email confirmed and run this again. You can see Houston, even if they have their email or not, we get everyone in Houston. But if it's other than Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio again, it has to have the email confirmed equal to 0. So where city is equal to Houston, kind of a full stop regardless, or the email confirmed is 0 regardless of the city. Not is a negation. So the client table where the city is other than Houston, we're not opposite of city equals Houston. And you'll see here we have the 14 rows for everyone else not in Houston. No Houston in the city here. So pretty straightforward, and both have to be true. The or, either of them can be true. Not is the opposite. So where city is not Houston. And we'll see an alternative towards the end of the video. Another example, let's build some more data. We have a batting table, an ID, player, name really, year, home runs, stolen bases, and their batting average. And then we can add some data. I understand this is actual data, although I did not confirm every single number here, but names, everyone from 2021, number of home runs, number of stolen bases, and their average. Again, 20 rows were affected. And you can see, same type of thing, 40 home runs or 30 stolen bases, where the home runs are greater than or equal to 40, or, regardless of how many home runs, they've stolen 30 or more bases. See, this all tracks. If less than 40, they also stole more than 30 bases. More than 40, even regardless of the number of bases that they stole. At least 10 home runs, or not home run less than 10. So home runs are not less than 10, meaning they're 10 or greater. So here we are. All of the heavy hitters here. Looks like everybody has at least 10 home runs. Let's try that again just to show you that it is working. Yep, 30 or more. So a couple of things you might run into for gotchas, if you will. Let's go back to our client table. Dallas or Houston and under 40. So the and takes precedence. And so what we have here, when you have something like this without any parentheses, it's going to process the and first. So what this statement really means is city is Houston and under 40. And then it processes the or the city is Dallas. So if we really want it Dallas or Houston and under 40, you need to use parentheses. If you remember from grammar school or high school, parentheses takes precedence. Now it will process this command, and then it will take that result, emphasize or execute the and, combining with less than 40. So here we see the younger folks from Dallas or Houston. Again, back here, because the and takes precedence, we're getting the older in Dallas, because what this really means is, well, it's going to infer an order of operations. Take care of the and before it processes the or. Another example from the batting table, where the average is not greater than 300, and the stolen bases are greater than 20. So hitters who get on base or have a lower batting average, maybe they're getting a lot of walks, and we're emphasizing that by the number of stolen bases. Now, you don't have to use parentheses. If you really do mean home runs greater than 15 and stole more than 30, or batting average is greater than 300, you don't have to use the parentheses, but just know it will process this first, and then we'll or it for the other hitters. A couple of other things I want to point out is not very common. So before we had not average greater than 300, well, what does that mean? Well, the average is less than 300. And oftentimes it's a lot cleaner. Get to the same players here. The other thing that to keep in mind, and this is one of those logic rules that you may recall or have seen, the opposite of A and B, where A and B are our conditions, is the same as not A or not B. So by way of example, if I just look without any where conditions, see I have this commented out, getting every row, and I'm just ordering it by the city. So you see we have 4 people in Austin, a bunch of people in Dallas, Houston, and then San Antonio. So if I want where the opposite of less than 30 and Austin, meaning I want anyone from anywhere else, but if they're in Austin, they need to be greater than 30. So anyone who would fit this, I don't want. Austin and less than 30. And I do this and I get 18 rows, and if I look at Austin, you see everyone here is over the 30. If I comment this out again and zoom back in and focus on Austin, you'll see my 26-year-old David and my 28-year-old David and my 26-year-old Quinn are not in the query when I say we're not less than 30 in Austin. Now that could be useful, but for whatever reason, depending on the nature of the conditions, you might want to look at it a different way. Following this rule, where not less than 30, meaning greater than 30, or not in Austin, which means if they're less than 30, they better not be in Austin. So here we go. We get our 18 rows. You notice we do not have our 2 younger folks because we applied this rule, and it's ultimately the same rule. It's kind of algebra, if you will. And as I said earlier, building on the not is not common, well, not age less than 30 really means age greater than or equal to 30. And not city is equal to Austin really means the city is not equal to Austin. And this was that other format that you may be familiar with from programming. This is not equals. So an exclamation point and equals. You can also do less than and greater than together, not in the same line. So we'll just leave it that way. So this one where age is greater than 30 or the city is not Austin. In my opinion, this is a little bit easier to understand. And the way I always look at it, I kind of pause in my own head where the age is greater than 30, or if it fails that criteria, meaning it's less than 30, well, they can't be in Austin. So the only less than 30s, Dallas, Houston here, and San Antonio. So that's what I had to share with you today. And, ors, nots, a little bit of simple examples. They can get complex, but just kind of think through them. I'll say it logically. Use parentheses when you need to. Don't be afraid to change the nots into the opposite condition. So not age less than 30 is age greater than 30. It reads a little bit better, makes your code more maintainable. Please subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.